Avoiding change is ruining your life, and I'm gonna tell you how. First and foremost, the fear of change can lead to a stagnant life or a stagnant lifestyle because we've gotten comfortable, we've gotten familiar, and we end up getting stuck in like this rut almost. You know what I mean? Like we get to a point to where it's like it's hard for us to move on and move forward. And that's not that's not healthy, and it's not good for anyone who's trying to live an abundant life and have a abundant lifestyle. See, with stagnation comes a lack of growth. With a lack of growth comes um the lack of determination and will to want to do anything. So, like I talk about in some of my other videos, our comfort zone can be very, very harmful to us. You know what I mean? Like our comfort zone can be the very thing that's holding us back from the things that we want to achieve, from the lifestyle that we want to live. Because the comfort zone becomes comfortable, it becomes familiar, it becomes easy. So, in order for you to get out of those things, you have to be willing to make the change, and you can't make the change unless you get out of that stagnation. The next thing that's causing a problem that we don't really think about is, um, you know, there's a lot of missed opportunities that happens, right? Because when we avoid change, it's almost like we close the door on any and everything that can help us. Sometimes it's not sometimes it's not purposely done, but I think it's a part of what comes with the territory of living that lifestyle that is stagnant, is that you miss out on a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that could benefit you. And you know when we do that, we also fall short of like new relationships and building relationships with people because we end up being stuck in our bubble. We don't want to change because we're so used to doing things a certain way that we don't get out, we don't meet people, we don't we're afraid rather to open new doors or to look at other opportunities because we're so fixated on one way. And sometimes that one way is in the way. Sometimes that one way is what's holding you back. So like it causes us to get overlooked. It causes those opportunities to pass us by. It causes problems. And whether we want to admit it or not, like, when you think about it, you know, those missed opportunities are the opportunities that we've been waiting on. But because we were too afraid or too relaxed and too in our head, we end up missing out on that. And that doesn't hurt anybody. Like that doesn't hurt the next person. It hurts you. In order for things to change, things must change. In order for things to change, you have to change and you have to want to change. Nobody's going to make you, you know what I'm saying? And something else is like nobody's coming to save you. More importantly, it's something you have to want. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like the fear of the unknown is like keeping us still. It's like, oh gosh, like that fear of like it not working out is keeping us in the same place. And ultimately, what's going to happen is those opportunities are going to stop showing up. They're going to stop, being available, because a lot of times you don't know when the opportunity's coming and where it's coming from. And if you continue to reject it because you refuse to change who you are, change your ways and change how you move and do things, the opportunity is just not going to show up at your doorstep. And and also it's it's holding you back from going out and seeking those opportunities. Like you have to like let go of the idea of like it having things having to be one way. You know that old saying, it's like more than one way to skin a cat. It's more than one way to accomplish your goals, to live the lifestyle that you want to live. You can get there. You know what I'm saying? But not wanting to change, it can very well be the reason why things are still the same. And a lot of times what I've realized is that we know that, like, man, like, if I just do this way, things will be different. Things will work out. But what I've realized is that we get so caught up in my way or the highway. Oh, it has to work out this way. It has to look this way. That's what we fall short at. Because success doesn't look one way. The goal is to accomplish the goal, right? And whether your plan worked or another plan, as long as the goal is accomplished, as long as you reach whatever you're trying to reach, accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish, as long as you get that, it should be the only focus. It shouldn't be, you know, oh, well, I have to do it my way in order for it to be successful. No, it doesn't matter what way worked, as long as it worked. Another thing we got to talk about is how avoiding change, you know, is ruining your life, is that, like, it causes unhappiness. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. When you get to a point where you know things need to change in your life and different areas in your life, and you refuse to, again, because you familiar, because it's comfortable, or because you just don't want to, then you get down. You become a Debbie Downer. You hear me? You become that person that just kind of dwells. It leads to sadness, frustration, anger, and just unhappiness, because you know what it takes. You know what it's going to take for things to work out and for things to look better in your life. But you refuse to make those changes because they're hard, because they're uncomfortable. So in return, you decide to just dwell in it and deal with it. And that doesn't hurt anybody but you. And now you sad and you moping around, but who fault is it? Who can you blame? Who can you point the finger at? You can't really point the finger at anybody but yourself. You got to take a look in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, that unhappiness is because there's a lack of growth. There's a lack of positivity. There's a lack of development, because, again, you stagnant. But you got to remember, you chose that life. Now you can make a choice and change it and flip it and have things work out the way you would like them to, but you have to make that decision. Nobody's going to make it for you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to decide that, I don't want to be dissatisfied anymore. I don't want to just exist in this world or just be existing in life. I want to actually live. You know what I mean? There's a lot of regret that comes with not changing. And if you, like me, somebody who waited a long time to make certain changes in my life and in my lifestyle, there is some regret. You regret, like, not starting earlier. You regret, the time that was wasted, the opportunities that were missed, that all comes with it. So when you think about change, don't think about it as a bad thing, because what you don't want to do is be living with regret for 10 years and dwelling on the shouldas, the couldas, and the wouldas for 10 years. You know what it's gonna take. You just haven't made the decision to do it yet. But avoiding it is gonna hurt you more in the long run than anything. So you gotta be prepared for whatever decision you make. Be prepared to deal with the outcome. My what I would say is just go ahead and make the hard decisions and make the hard choices. Stop avoiding, change, and just suck it up and deal with it. It's gonna be hard for a long time. But wouldn't you rather be hard now and easy later? Or are you gonna just keep coasting through life and have it easy now, and then you turn around and you look up and you in your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s, and now it's hard. It's real hard. Because you didn't want to make the change. You didn't want to let go of those bad habits. Then, you didn't want to put the alcohol down. You didn't want to put, all of the snacks down. You didn't want to start school because you thought you were too old at 30. You didn't want to start the business because you didn't feel like you had all the necessary resources and things. All of your ducks wasn't lined up perfectly, so you waited and you waited and you waited. And you fast forward 10 years and everything's still the same. And had you just started then with a change and whatever it may be, you'll be so much further along. So that's something to think about, man. Like, avoiding it is just gonna make things worse. It's not gonna make it easier. It's not gonna make it go away. You're gonna feel it, and every day you gotta look in the mirror and deal with that. So that's something to remember, And then there's the loss of control. You got regret, and then there's the loss of control, because what ends up happening is we start to feel, when we start avoiding that change, we start to feel powerless. Because then you start to feel like nothing's going right. You start to feel like you start to get stressed out, because you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how the thing's going to work out. And, it's almost like you're unable to pretty much mold your own destiny and to pretty much shape things the way that you want to shape them, because you've just avoided the change. So you become hopeless, powerless. And in the long run, again, like I said before, it's going to tear you down so much that you just going to give up and quit. So don't get to that point to where you feel powerless. Don't get to the point to where it's like, all your hope is gone. Don't do it to yourself, because it's easier to climb out of a 2-foot hole than it is to climb out of a 10-foot hole. So maybe you've wasted a couple years. You know what I mean? But don't waste a decade. Don't waste 15, 20 years. And even if you have, man, start climbing out. Start digging yourself out of that hole, out of that rut, so you can make the necessary lifestyle changes. And listen, I know it's hard. I know it's comfortable. I know it's easy. I know it's familiar. I know it's safe. A lot of times it becomes our safe space, avoiding that change, not having to deal with it, because it's safe for us. It's like a weighted blanket, a nice warm blanket coming out of the dryer. It's safe. It's warm. But until you decide to not be safe anymore, you're going to continue to go through that cycle. Life is going to continue to be a cycle. It's going to be like every day it's going to be the same thing, day in and day out. And every day you're going to get further and further into that hole. Every day you're going to look at yourself and be like, "Oh man, I could be so much further along." But you got to make the decision. You got to make the decision to change. You know, you can't let the fear of failure hold you down and hold you back, because ultimately that's what's happening. The fear of failure is holding you back. So what do you want to do? Do you want to be comfortable, be safe, be stagnant, have regret, become powerless, you know, be unhappy? Or do you want to thrive? Do you want to grow? Do you want to live an abundant life, have an abundant lifestyle? Do you want things to change? These are all of the questions you have to ask yourself. But I want you to remember that you avoiding change is ruining your life. And only you know the changes that you need to make for you in your life. And I hope you make the decision to make those changes. So until next time, I appreciate you, and I hope things work out for you in the best way possible. Choose you, make the hard decisions. Be sure to check out the links in the description. Follow, subscribe, share this with somebody. You never know who may need this. So, peace, love, and happiness.